So that kind of helped lead into this being in the front office and working for the Bison and going full into supporting other baseball players once your game is over yourself.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Bison Bulletin. We've had coaches' corners, commissioner corners. This one doesn't have quite as pretty as a name, but it does just the same. Today we are joined by the assistant general manager of your Abilene Flying Bison, and a good friend of mine is Mr. Dylan Lee. Dylan, how we doing?
I'm good, James. Thanks for finally having me on. Finally get to face the video camera and let the people know what I look like, I guess.
Well, yeah, you've been kind of a hidden part of this operation within the organization, and by design, yes, but at the same time, you just kind of go about your day and go about the day-to-day operations. So, again, tough to pull you away at sometimes to get an interview, but glad we're able to do it here in the off season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I like to call myself a grinder, stay on the outside and get stuff done, but it's always good to be in front of the camera every once in a while.
That attributes a lot to your baseball background, I think, as a whole. And that brings us kind of into our first question, our intro question. Kind of give the fans, for those who don't know you very well, kind of give us your background into baseball and why you've been here for now 3 years with the Abilene Flying Bison.
Yeah, so, I played competitive baseball all growing up, high school competitive. Of course, I came here to Abilene to come play some baseball at the local school in McMurray. So that was a blast getting to come in here and playing and getting to play for something other than yourself when it comes to showcase and stuff like that leading up to it. But it's a blast being able to play that competitive level and to say you've done it, you're in that top 4%. So it's a blast being able to do that and say I could play my 3 years. I wish it was 4, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I know that's kind of a tough thing, and especially playing at the competitive level that you did. And for any baseball player that goes beyond high school, the further you get, the tougher it is to actually hang up the cleats, right? And now that kind of brings us to my next question is, how is that transition of not being able to play the game anymore and now moving into kind of a front office role?
Yeah, so, initially everything is tough being able to move from position to position. So me being injured and missing that last season, trying to come back and just not working out to finish out that senior year, it kind of made the transition a little easier on the mental side. Hey, you're done. It's been enough injury wise, and I think it's time to call the play days over. So that kind of helped lead into this being in the front office and working for the Bison and going full into supporting other baseball players once your game is over yourself.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing to look at, because some people, it's tough. It happens. It's one of the most unfortunate things that they have to deal with is an injury. But some, for me, mine was ability the entire time. I don't know. I never got past the high school level, so we'll keep it at that. But yes, you've transitioned well, and you've established a very long relationship with our general manager and president, John Stark. How is that relationship with John, and how is that kind of transpired now that you're a part of this front office?
Yeah, so I've known John for a while, especially playing at McMurray. He was always up there working with them and working with us as a team. So I got to know him very well when I got injured, working with the team and sitting next to him during the games. We always had a little chit chat going along, whether it was arguing balls or strikes or if that play was an error or hit. So those are always fun conversations leading up to that. And when he asked me to join the organization and come work for the Flying Bison, it was just nothing I could have dreamt of. It's been my goal to work in a front office of a baseball team since I can remember. So it was a blessing to know him and to be able to step into the spot directly out of college.
Yeah, and I know the funny thing you mentioned there, the arguing of balls and strikes and error or hit, that I think that describes John Stark in many ways. So I think that's funny how that all comes together, and the relationship that you guys have had that I've gotten to develop with John as well. It also just plays a fun part of this front office role. So it's been a great start so far. We're getting into year 3. You have a big analytics background, and you're kind of transitioning a lot into that this year as the assistant general manager. How big of an impact are we seeing analytics come into the game from your standpoint?
Yeah, so the past 10 years, 5 years, the latest has been analytics only. It's tough to find scouts and such that are searching for that player that can just play. Nowadays, they're looking, hey, can I have that CSV file? Can I have the file on the arm? What does his pitch type look like? So it goes a lot into it, especially nowadays. I mean, that's what everybody's looking at. It's all pushing towards more analytics, and when it comes to defensive alignments, when it comes to pitching sequence, when it comes to how a hitter's going to face a pitcher, knowing what he has in his arsenal, knowing what you're sitting on. I know that a lot of people say, hey, sit on the fastball, react to everything else. Nowadays, it's, hey, this guy, I know this guy's throwing that slider. I'm going to try to beat it if I can. So just understanding those things and getting that slight edge when it comes to playing the kids game that we all grew up on.
Yeah, we know that our manager Kyle Dyson dives a lot in analytics, and he expects a lot of that to go into what this season's going to be. Now, again, you've been here; you're a day one guy with the Flying Bison. We now look into going to year 3, but looking back at the first 2 years, how fun was that to be a part of this group? Not only just the front office, but the players as well.
Yeah, the biggest moment that comes to my mind is every day I came to the office, I was always happy-go-lucky, jumping around the office. I had to get calmed down by everybody else in here because it was kind of like it's a dream come true. It's you're doing what you love and helping others and get to do it day in and day out. So I was always the one bouncing off the walls, waiting for that game to happen at 7:05 every single night.
Well, that was because 1, you were the youngin', and 2, you had so much energy drink in you at that time. I think that played a bit of a factor at that point. You're still, I joined within the front office, and you're still the young guy, but you carry, I think, this level of professionalism that you're not interpreted as just this young college kid. You're looked at as in a very professional manner. That's why you got the title as assistant general manager.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's one of those things when you have a mindset going into it, everything you do leading up to it is planning for that moment. So I've tried to, throughout high school, throughout college, I've tried to been planning on hitting that development side and being as professional as I can as early as I can. I think it just helps when you have the right mindset and know what you want to get into, and being surrounded by this great organization, it kind of helps as well guide me through there, and it just helps me become who I am today and trying to help the Flying Bison as much as I can, of course.
And there's so much that goes into this, and especially your job. And behind every great assistant general manager, there's a great support system, and I think you have that at home. How big of a great feeling is it for you to have such a great mood changer all the time with your wife and Grace and your daughter and Sutton, who comes in all the time and just immediately, if there's a gloom of doom moment, Sutton and Grace come in and change that in the front office that we have.
It's a blessing. I said it every single day, getting to go home to a little kiddo like that and seeing the smile on her face when she sees you for the first time after work. It lights up your day. It keeps you moving forward. Knowing that they love the sport as well and they come out to support. They're always at the games. When I get a little downtime, I get to go see them down the line and stuff like that. It really helps boost the morale and where you are. Even if you do have a bad, gloomy day, it's another blessing to be able to see your wife and kid when you get home.
Yeah, it certainly shows day in and day out that support system always helps out. A couple more questions for you. Us being behind the scenes, being in the front office, we get to see certain things before they're released out to the public. Now, a couple things we did release at Bison Bash. One of those things, kind of the promotional schedule. I'll ask you, with stuff that we've already released, what have you been most excited about to get to see this season?
That's a tough question. Of course, we do a lot of planning into it. So there's a lot of things we see growing from the start to the finish. And the biggest thing for me is those jerseys. I think a nice flip up on the replica jerseys and our on-field jerseys, of course, is a good look. Most people are going to hate that I say this, but I am a Yankees guy. So the pinstripes really do the bleed true. So showing those pinstripes and what we have this year it's a big thing for me. I love it and can't wait to get my hands on. So
it's funny. I didn't know you were going to touch the Yankees aspect until the next question I asked, but you got to it a question earlier. So I appreciate that. And then, Riley Hood may have a conversation with you since you didn't mention his bobblehead as one of your favorites.
Well, there's a long history between me and Riley. And if I can bring that bobblehead's head just a little bit smaller, I will.
Yeah, there's a long history of good friendship and good teammates as well. You and Riley Hood are now coach of the Abilene Flying Bison this year. Last question I'll have for you. You know, one of the things that we're doing this year, we have the baseball cards, and we got to see those passed out at Bison Bash. It was a really cool thing. Our promotional video, you ripping one, it was really an awesome thing to see. And now it has kind of grown your love a little bit more into the hobby of collecting baseball cards. I'll ask you this. Do you have a favorite card or something really cool that you've pulled so far in your newfound hobby of collecting?
So yes, it's a struggle now. Seeing that we do baseball cards and getting me into it. I like every single day in the office. It's kind of something we always bring up and talk about. So in this new set that I got, it's the terror cards. I got a Julio and a Dylan Cruz, and those cards they just look sick. I mean, I haven't seen a better pattern on a card than those. But a fun fact, I just went home and went through a few of my old ones. I have a Ricky Henderson Yankees patch that is probably my top card that I have right now, and that's one that I'm looking to secure for a lifelong. So
See, I had a feeling you were going to pick Yankee as one of your favorite cards. It just happened to be a really cool Henderson patch. So that's
yeah,
awesome to hear. Dylan, it feels like we haven't talked in so long. You know, it's not like we're in another room or anything, just making this happen. But you know, it's been a fun journey here, getting to work with you and everything that you do as the assistant general manager. We wanted to get this interview to show that your work, your hard work, your grinding doesn't go unnoticed. So we appreciate all that you do.
absolutely, James. I appreciate it again having me on, and I look forward to seeing you here in about 5 seconds in this office. So it's a good time again, and thanks to the Flying Faithful. We do all this for y'all, so we really appreciate it.